Stephanie Ruhle, Davos matters. Davos matters now in a way that it didn't. What happened this week? I think was
It's so
huge.
funny. It's so funny. I've been to Davos, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. And for a long time, it really was sort of this elite, just business people. There were world leaders, but kind of like more obscure ones with a very big focus on philanthropy. And there still is. The irony is Davos mattered so much this year because so many people of influence went. But even though they went, what the World Economic Forum has always claimed that Davos was about is, creating the integrated, collaborative, world of the future, the sustainable world of the future, flies in the face of exactly where we are today, right? The fact
Yeah.
that President Trump flew there. Well, actually, I'm gonna back it up. I
Yeah.
watched Stephen A. Smith this week dunk on Gavin Newsom, just trash him, saying, "How dare Gavin Newsom on European soil go to Davos and say anything negative about our president?" Almost like my Catholic
Really?
family, almost like my Catholic family, we can crush each other inside the house, but as soon as we open
Right.
the front door, we have to have a united front. And I'm kind of like, you could dog on Gavin Newsom for criticizing the president, or by the same token, the president went to Davos and on European soil insulted everything and everyone.
Practically
Well,
declared war on Mark
correct.
Carney.
While so many business leaders and world leaders were there scratching their heads saying, have we just redefined the world order? I
Right.
actually think on some level, it's a comfort when they hear from other government leaders from the United States saying, no, 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 no. Like,
Yeah.
we don't feel that way. We still are committed to the NATO alliance, right? So even if we backed off our threats against Greenland, if you're any of these countries, do you believe it? Right? Like, I don't think that Donald Trump truly changed his view on what we should do about Greenland. He
No.
just got a drastically negative response, much like
Right.
Liberation Day last year when the bond market said, this isn't going to work, Donnie. The same thing
Yeah.
happened this week.
So I want to go to this precedent because of this new world order idea. Mark Carney, the PM of Canada, gave this amazing speech. And,
And let me just be clear. I don't know if you know, I know Mark Carney. He's a fantastic guy. He's a smart
right.
guy. Mark Carney has never been this exciting in his whole entire life.
Right.
Okay.
And explain why that is because he's not a normal politician, right?
No, oh my goodness. He's an Ivy League educated. He came from the banking world. He's a true, highly educated centrist that
Right.
had it not been for the right wing pendulum swing, for the pendulum swinging so far to the right, suddenly Canada was like, oh, okay, we got to stop getting cute with like big changes and aspirations. And we need to just put a grown up who's going to say, let's lower the temperature. And
Right.
that's what
And
Mark Carney is doing.
Mark Carney gives the speech because because I just
Yes,
want to
yes, yes.
narrate.
Yes.
Gives this speech. It's an amazing speech. It's like very sort of the kind of speech a gifted orator gives, and
Mhm.
it does not ever mention the United States by name. Go.
No. It does not ever mention the United States name. Unlike Donald Trump, who the next day was trying to say Greenland by name, but not once, not twice, but I actually think 4 times called it Iceland. And then his press secretary tried to say that we were incorrect. And no, Press Secretary Levitt, there's a video. He called it Iceland. I thought 2 times. My colleague said 4. In Donald Trump's first term, one of his he was oftentimes very frustrated. People used to joke he's in his bed with a Diet Coke and a cheeseburger watching TV angry. He's not angry because he had the likes of Gary Cohn or Steve Mnuchin or H.R. McMaster, Rex Tillerson, take your pick. Even Bill Barr saying, no, sir, I get that's what you want to do, but that's not what we can do, right? We have to follow the rule of law. That's not how government works. Well, now in Trump 2.0, it's Shangri-La, right?
Right.
It's funny. Trump is a salesman who will sell you anything at a whim, but he is surrounded by true MAGA zealots who are like 3 equal branches of government, be damned. We're here for Trump Nation. And so no one inside that White House has said to him, there's no reason for us to acquire Greenland.
Right.
They will, even the notion of like, we've got the framework of a deal. What's in it? You could have had whatever you wanted. right?
Right.
Basically, we have whatever we want already from Greenland. And if we want more, they're going to say yes. So this entire exercise, while I'm sure it pleased Vladimir Putin, who would
Right.
love to shake NATO, like you always have to remember, go back in time. Ukraine would like to be a member of NATO. Russia is not a member of NATO. And so Vladimir Putin loves to see NATO getting rocked or disturbed in any way. Now, you do have to give Donald Trump some credit on the NATO front. Things get sleepy in these organizations. And had Donald Trump not shaken the cage and said,
Mhm.
hey, you sleepy countries, you got to pay up. And we saw more countries do so.
Right.
We do have significantly more power than our European allies. But I just think when Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth say they can't touch our military might, they're right. But if all of those countries and if all of those investors and if investors around the world say, you know what, we're just going to dump all of our positions in US treasuries,
Mhm.
we don't think you're the biggest, safest bet anymore, that would be
Mhm.
very bad.
Right, and it'll make money much more expensive, and it'll change
Correct.
the way our whole country works. But I want you to talk. I want to go back just for another second on the New World Order. So Donald Trump comes in. He says, we're going to go to war with Greenland. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Carney says the small countries need to band together because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Is it a New World Order coming out of Davos?
I don't know that it's a new world order because Donald Trump can change his tune at any moment. And the truth is, all of these countries don't want the world order changed, right? They're really
Right.
unhappy with what Trump is doing. But as much as Mark Carney could say, we got to get together and do this on our own, boys and girls, they'll do it if they have to. They'll do it if
Right.
Trump's threats are real, but they don't want to, right? Again, let's be
Right. It's
clear.
expensive.
Most of these European leaders, they're not very popular. Like they're dealing with the same political divides in their countries that
Mm,
we are. They've got slower economic growth than we do, right? Take
right.
tourism out, a lot of those countries are suffering. So could they band together and figure out how they're going to do this? They could, but they don't want to.
Right. And I think that's a really good point. And it's expensive. It's a problem. There's all sorts of weird problems. I do want to ask you though, like it does feel like America is more isolated, especially coming into Davos to have Canada make this deal with China for EVs, Mark Carney, like then you have Canadians protesting, not visiting America. Like, how much do you think this actually affects our economy?
Listen, all of it is affecting our economy, right? Donald Trump's number one economic policy has been the tariffs,
Right.
okay? And what even happened last year? We saw 90 or even more than 90% of the costs incurred because of the tariffs were from American businesses and American consumers, right? That weighs on our economy. We were going to be bringing back manufacturing jobs. We lost 68,000 manufacturing jobs. Now, what you can say, yeah, but now the economic outlook looks better this year. The economic outlook looks better thanks to AI. What
That's
we really have is this divided economy, and other people have talked about it, this K
the
economy. And
case.
to me, coming out of last year, going into 2026, that K economy is only getting more exaggerated.
So the K economy means that a big part of that K is the 20% or 10% of the richest. Explain
Hmm.
that. Can
Yes,
you
it's
explain the
it's the
K?
rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten poorer, right? So now the average age of a first-time home buyer is 40 years old. If you're someone who owns a home, if you're someone who owns assets, who owns stocks, the value of all of those things went up and up and up. But if you're not, if you do not own a home, if you're somebody who got out of college and you're saddled with college debt and there's no jobs for you, you're suffering. If you're somebody in America who inflation is truly making your day-to-day life more difficult, it's a problem. This is how the spirit, this is how why the same spirit elects Donald Trump in 2016 and Zohar Mamdani in 2025, right? Wildly different men, but who are speaking to people saying, are you left out and are you sick of this? The government doesn't work for you. Now, the difference is that 2026 Donald Trump, I don't even think he attempts to speak to or deliver for his base. Donald Trump is not running again. he is making, right? New York Times, reported that in the last year he made $1.4 billion personally. I would venture a guess the number is significantly higher than that.
Yeah.
And he is surrounded by really what have become American oligarchs, how wealthy the wealthiest ring of people have become. And what Donald Trump isn't addressing or talking about, right? Is he saying anything to us truly about healthcare? No, he's not.
No.
Inflation is cooling, but we're not in good shape. All of these issues that affect the American people, the root of MAGA, let's stop focusing on the outside and start focusing on the inside. We're not doing that.
No.
And so it's going to be so interesting to see, like, true MAGA zealots love all things Donald Trump, love his brand, but people who voted for him who are just sick of the system, he's not keeping them. And then
Right.
there's that one other group, last weekend I was driving in upstate New York and there were some sort of Trump Nation flags. And then, further ones, just like free speech now. I just keep thinking about free speech now.
Br-
One thing that came out of Davos, what are business leaders doing? Self-censoring.
Right.
Davos is the one place where they love to get on the stage, voice their opinions about anything, everything. They're
Right.
blah, blah, blah. They're quiet as a church mouse, right?
Right.
Because these business leaders know they're in a tricky position, right? They need to serve their customers, they need to serve their shareholders. And if you say anything against the president, he's coming for you. And we saw this in cold blood
With Jamie
yesterday.
Dimon.
So Jamie Dimon, who is the lead, who is far, 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 far from
Right.
woke, right?
Right.
Far from woke. In fact,
And he even said he liked Trump stuff on immigration, right?
Yes, this time last year, he spoke in Davos and basically compared the far right to the far left and said the far left needs to stop talking so crazy. And people
Right.
were super upset about him. But this week, he spoke some plain truths and said
About ICE, right?
about saying he liked that Donald Trump was closing the border, and lots of people do. But he said watching 5 grown men tackle a woman on her way to work, I don't think so. Right. So he spoke out against that. Then one of Donald Trump's, sort of new ideas on affordability is to cap credit card rates. Okay. So you're not going
Right.
to pay high interest rates. And Jamie Dimon said, great, that will lead to economic disaster. Because if they cap credit card rates, credit card companies will say, okay, fine. But then they're just not going to extend credit
Right.
to lots and lots of Americans, right? If you have a lower credit rating, they're going to say, sorry, it's too risky for me to lend to you. And
Yeah.
then the third thing that Jamie Dimon did was when all of the companies, my parent company included, ponied up 10, 20, $30 million for the East Wing Ballroom, Jamie Dimon said no. He said no,
Mm-hmm.
because whomever the next administration is, if they're not Republicans, they're going to come and sue all of us that this was some kind of crooked bribery.
Right.
And what
Which it
does Donald
was.
Trump do? He goes and sues the biggest, baddest CEO out there. And I guarantee lots of other business leaders are like, shit, shoot, Jamie
Right.
Dimon's getting sued for $5 billion. Like there's few CEOs out there that sort of have the cojones, the power Jamie Dimon does. So
Right.
loads of others are looking from the wings saying, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and my head down. And that's
Um,
really scary when people don't stand up for the truth, when they don't stand up for democracy, when they don't say things are whack. Do you
um,
remember how outspoken Jeff Bezos was about saying Joe Biden didn't understand inflation? What has Jeff
yeah.
Bezos said about Donald Trump's understanding of the economy? Because we just heard from Amazon that we're going to start to see the impact of tariffs on their prices. Where are you, Jeff Bezos?
Yeah. It's a good question. And remember, Amazon had wanted to have a little tariff calculator, and then Trump had said no.
And they
Remember
said,
that?
forget it. We're not going to do
Forget it.
that.
I think it's so interesting when you're talking about like these billionaires not being brave, being scared. Earlier today, I did Morning Joe and I was talking to Senator Richard Blumenthal. I was saying, does anyone stand up to him in the Senate? And he was saying no. But then he said something which I thought was really interesting, which was he said, they said Greenland is a no. Like there are certain things that they were like, you can't do that.
So when Greenland was like really on the table this week, I was speed dialing all my sources in the hedge fund community that
Right.
wrap themselves in pretzels to defend Trump.
Defending Trump. Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was dialing up 1-800 Greenland, like, hey, what? And people are avoiding my calls. They're dog ate
Wow.
their homework. Nobody wanted, I mean, because they just know it makes absolutely no sense. And
Yeah.
even while if you make the argument, well, they have these rare earth minerals, we can still get them. Like it just, and so I think Trump more than blinked. He was embarrassed. Like,
Yeah.
sure, Stephen Miller's wife could make a post that shows, oh my gosh, what if we had this country and this country? And
Right.
what would that map look like? And Donald Trump can, have a picture of, American flag on Canada, American flag on Greenland, American flag on
Right.
Venezuela. And then the business community is saying, what? Why would we need to do that? We're already getting everything we want. And forget the business community, MAGA. Go
Yeah.
back to the original Marjorie Taylor Greene MAGA. Wasn't the whole idea we wanted to cut off USAID because we didn't care about other countries?
Right.
Right? We don't care about other countries. We don't care about wars in other countries. We don't care about aid in other countries. It's America. It's America first. And you could not make a cogent argument around why
Mhm.
Greenland made sense, but to the point about silenced billionaires, think about how different the world is, right? Donald Trump even said in his remarks at the White House the day before he left Davos, he was half joking about the Gulf of Mexico. And he said, well, it's Gulf of America. I actually wanted it to be the Gulf of Trump, but I would have gotten killed for that. This is how far he's come and how quiet and accepting we have
Right.
become. Trump
Right.
1.0, you had apartment buildings in New York City
Stripping his name off.
suing
Yeah.
people who lived, pulling down the TRUMP, taking
Yeah.
his name off
Yeah.
buildings because they didn't want to be there. And now it's like, well, let Trump be Trump. Just call it the Gulf of Trump.
But
I mean, call
but
it the Gulf of America.
But I believe, and I could be wrong, but from looking at the polling and looking at this sort of pushback that we're seeing in places like Minnesota, I actually think what we have here is an elite that is willing to go along to get along. Billionaires who are happy to do it, politicians who are pathetic sycophants, but that actually the American people are not happy.
Okay, and then there's another group. I think you're 100% right, and I'm gonna go to those billionaires first for a second. Even though so many of them know better, those that are truly in that circle, Molly, these people are making so much money.
Yep. It's the taxes.
It's more than the taxes, it's the taxes, it's a hype deal. I mean, I was talking to
Right.
a business guy I knew for years who's like, "Well, I'm focused really in Baku now," and I'm like, "Where?" And oh, I'm working with Witkoff, I'm working with this. There are so many,
Right.
right? The John
Corruption.
Paulsons of the world are
Yeah.
making so much money, Russia style, that they're all in. Okay, Cantor Fitzgerald Howard Lutnick's firm has never made as much money as the. I mean,
I'm
wouldn't you love?
shocked. I am
Wouldn't
shocked to hear
wouldn't
that
you
the
love to
dumbest person
know?
from New York, sorry, go on.
Wouldn't you love to know who had inside information, who had early information on what Trump was going to announce about Greenland this week? I would sure like to know. So there's that group. But I actually think the group, and they don't want to admit it, that really is in a tricky seat are corporate leaders,
Yeah.
right? Are law firms, because they do
Mhm.
watch polling. They do take the pulse.
Right.
So
They
they need to
know.
figure out they need to figure out, how do I not alienate Trump, but how do I get with where the future is going? Because again, most CEOs, what their political views are for the most part kept private. They have
Yeah.
three things they need to do, right? They need their customers to keep buying their products, they need their employees not to quit, and they need their shareholders smiling. And they don't want to weigh in on politics. It's gotten so difficult they're forced to. But now things are tricky because you have a president who is demanding money and loyalty and public
Mhm.
praise, and he's falling further and further. I mean, what's his approval rating right now? 32,
It's
35?
the lowest. I mean, it's pretty much it's a race to the bottom. Steph Rule, that was really fun. You're the best. I'll
You're
see you
really fun.
later.